Hey guys, Benjy here. I'm sitting out here right now with my red chair and my trusty plant, and I really wanted to share with you guys something I've been thinking about a lot, especially with all that's going on in the world, in our communities, in society, in our culture. And I think I get a little outraged, a little bit frustrated at times, and I sometimes need to take a step back and realize, like many of us, that there are some incredible people in this world. There are incredible leaders in this world, and I just want to take a moment to really recognize the power of leadership right now, and people that you probably know that are just beyond me in terms of inspiring, and people that I really want to follow and really move me to tears sometimes just to think about the amount that they've done and the heart that they have to just bring people joy and to serve people selflessly. And I know I don't want to pinpoint anyone or I mean, there are so many great people that you could probably name in your circle of community. But there's a few people really close to me that I've worked with really closely, especially recently. And I want to highlight them and give them the appreciation they deserve, because being a leader is sometimes the most thankless job, especially in the area of ministry, especially in the area of service and community building. It's the hardest thing in the world to be a leader. If you've been one, if you've ever been a pastor or youth pastor or a parent, it is the most thankless job in the world. And I just really want to appreciate a few people really quick. Besides myself, I'm just kidding. I'm not a leader. I'm the guy that's always complaining and always says no, and I'll just do what I want and not ask for permission sometimes. But I really wanted to appreciate, first of all, Dr. Young, not because I know he's going to watch this or anything like that, but really Dr. Young, something I saw as soon as he came to America from Asia. He started doing morning devotion. I think within 2 or 3 days, he's started doing morning devotion. And that is just like, for a leader of his capability and his power and his charisma, to just say, okay guys, I'm going to start doing a morning devotion, a series of presentations every single morning. And he wakes up at an ungodly hour, like 2 or 3 a.m. in the morning, to start preparing. And it's transformative for people's lives. I've talked with so many people who just do morning devotion, and it's just revitalized themselves in their life of faith and just gives them energy and power throughout the day. And I really appreciate it, because what Dr. Young is doing, he's creating content. He's not just talking, he's not just planning, he's not just, he's doing all that, but he is creating content. He's creating substance that is applicable to people, that people can grab onto and have hope and inspiration every single day. I have a group of young men that I'm leading, a high noon group for, who are struggling with pornography and porn habits. And I actually told this to Dr. Young. All of the guys in my group, there's 5 guys, and they all do morning devotion. They all started doing morning devotion every day, because in our group we were talking about the value of spiritual practice, daily spiritual practice. And we decided to do it every day, and that has by far been the most helpful thing for them to overcome their porn habits, was simply the act of waking up early, doing morning devotion, listening to the Word of God, which is incredible. Who would have thought that doing something so religious focused would have such a profound impact on your habitual nature, the addictive nature of a porn habit? And that's just an example of so many ways that's changing people's lives. For me, it's really inspired me to just be more bold with my beliefs and my faith, and turn on the camera like this and just start sharing content like Dr. Young is doing. He's really leading the charge, and I believe that that's the example he's setting, is we all have to be tribal messiahs of our own tribes in the sense of creating content for our people, for our audience, for our tribe. And that's what really inspired me to start this YouTube channel, and also just share more in my own avenues, in my own ways. The second person I really want to appreciate is someone that I've worked close with for the last year, actually, is Yana, Mrs. Yana Johnson. If you don't know who she is, shame on you. I'm just kidding. Yana Johnson is the Blessing and Family Ministry Director. I've been working with the BFM for the last 7 years, and she stepped in the beginning of which year? 2020. She started being the director of the family department of our movement in America at the beginning of 2020. I just want to highlight the fact that this was probably the most challenging time in human history to join our headquarters team, but specifically the family department. As soon as she joined, we had our team, we had the blessing in Korea, the 2020 February blessing. She went to Korea. This is the first time I ever met her. She was just so on top of everything. She was just charging ahead, so calm, so humble, but so clear in her beliefs and her faith and where we're going. Soon after Korea, after we got back from Korea from the blessing, the pandemic hit. Oh my gosh, the pandemic started, right? And as you might know, the headquarters, the BFM staff was reduced significantly. I mean, she had to let go as soon as she started. Essentially, she had to let go so many of our staff, and who are just so dedicated and hardworking. And can you imagine the difficulty of having those conversations and navigating the intricacies of letting people go because of a pandemic? There was just no funds, no income coming into the headquarters, and it's just was such a challenging time. On top of that, guys, she came to America without her fam. You know, she came before her family. She has two boys, Kevin and Hendrik, and her husband, and we're in Norway. She came out of just faith that it would work out, and God bless them, they made it to America. And she for many years has been a stay-at-home mom, and now what's so inspiring to me is her husband now is a stay-at-home parent, and she's working full-time, and they just have a beautiful dynamic, and they're just supporting each other, encouraging each other. And God bless her husband. I mean, he's really the true hero, one of the heroes in this pool that I'm talking about, because without him, you know, she wouldn't be able to do what the amazing work she do. And I tell you, Yana she's not a complainer. She just keeps going and going, no matter all the things that are thrown at her, all the responsibility she has as a family director, all the special circumstances and situations of all the families and couples that we have. She's working with them with a smile on her face, and she doesn't complain. I work closely with her all the time, and she just doesn't complain about anyone or any situation. She just keeps going. That is the heart of a true leader. That no matter what, when this pandemic hit and everyone was getting let go, she had the heart of even if I'm fired, which was that was how dire the situation was, really. She said, even if I'm fired, I'm going to continue doing this as a volunteer, even though she put everything on hold in her country, in Norway, and they're moving everyone, her entire family, to America. And when she had that kind of heart, it really brought me to tears. It really moved me to really serve and support her. So that's why I just try to support her. And when you have a leader like that, guys, if you find that kind of leader that is just so selfless, that will just do what they know they need to do, regardless of who's paying them, who's paying attention, who's watching them, that's the heart of a true leader. And those are the people worth following. Those are the people that are worth striving to be like. And every day I work with people like Yana, like Dr. Young, and also another couple that I'm going to mention. And it just really moves me to really want to do more and want to serve more. Man, Yana Johnson, give her some love if you have a chance. Okay, guys, send her some presents. Send her kids. She has 2 boys. They like Legos. If you want to send their boys some Legos, I hope they don't get too many Legos because of this. All right, there's one more couple I really want to appreciate because they are just the leaders of leaders. And before we do that, if you're wondering why I'm talking about this on this channel, which is all about the blessing and all about preparing well for the blessing in the matching process, there's a reason I'm talking about leadership and these couples in particular, right? So the other couple I want to appreciate right now is the Wolfenberger couple, the Wolfenbergers, David and Mitsue Wolfenberger. They are the founders, the true owners of High Noon International. High Noon was an organization they started 5 years ago, and it has transformed the lives of so many people. It is an organization solely created and designed to help individuals live lives of high noon, which true parents envision for everyone, to live lives of sexual integrity, to overcome their habits, addictions, porn habits, and to create marriages that are thriving and radiant. That has been the vision since the beginning. And why I really appreciate the Wolfenberger couple is because they have selflessly and just devoted so much time and funds. I mean, it's incredible to see how much they've invested financially, but also personally into this ministry to help people personally, one-on-one, in groups, not just pour money into it and say, hey guys, figure it out. They are really leading the charge. They're leading this ship. They're directing it. And they are giving so much responsibility and freedom to the team of now over 100 volunteers and staff on the High Noon team, which is incredible. But they have the most humble heart. They have 7 children. They, before you say, oh, they're wealthy, they can they can afford to, well, why don't you say that when you become wealthy? Why don't you try to give a significant amount of your income and your worth to charity, to something you believe in, not really knowing if it's going to work out. But what's happening, especially right now with their business, they've seen a lot of ups and downs in the business in the last few years, especially because of the pandemic. They consistently continue to invest in High Noon with their energy, their focus, their drive, and their funds, without complaining, always with a smile on their face, without stressing out, and they show up to our meetings with the staff, and they contribute, and they listen. Can you imagine having that much influence on a team of people, but just to listen to everyone's thoughts and feelings and opinions, and be humble to receive whatever, but at the same time they have such a strong vision for what High Noon can be. And at the same time, the Wolfenberger couples are constantly doing morning devotion. They're connecting with our leadership, reporting to them constantly, always connecting with brothers and sisters, and not just living in a bubble. They're not. They're always investing in individuals and couples and helping people really, really become radiant couples. They have saved so many lives indirectly because of what High Noon is doing for people. And it really just, it's really a beautiful thing to be a part of myself. And I'm so grateful that, to have them as a couple that I go to personally. They spend personal time with individuals. They've spent personal time talking with me and my wife, and helping us through things when we're going through troubles and struggles that I've mentioned a few times on this channel, and just being able to talk to them and have people to share with who are just very loving and unconditional. It's really, really moving. And so the reason I'm talking about leadership right now, especially on this channel, which is all about the blessing, is there's one thing that all of these individuals that I'm talking about have in common, right? That is that they're blessed couples. They're married. This is far different from anything that one individual can do by themselves. There's not a single leader on this planet that can stand up in front of everyone like they have, and to charge and lead like they have without a spouse by their side. It's impossible. When I see Dr. Young, I see his wife next to him. Not spiritually, but I know that they're one in heart. When I work with Yana, I can see her husband supporting her. When I see the Wolfenbergers, of course, they're always constantly next to each other. My wife is always with me. I always keep her in my heart, and I hope that you can see that too. You can see her sitting next to me. She's with her. You could probably hear my kids screaming right now for something. She's with her kids right now. But it's like, that's the power of the blessing, is that none of us can be who we are without our spouse. None of us can be the well-rounded person. Let me talk about myself for a second. I have been thinking a lot recently about my character and my personality, and I realized, like, I'm part of the millennial generation, which, from what I've studied and researched, is the most narcissistic, and I'm saying this as a millennial, as someone in this boat, the most narcissistic and self-centered group of people in history, for different reasons. You could say, from what I've seen, the fact that we're constantly on social media and Instagram and taking selfies and recording ourselves on videos. And I'm in that boat, honestly. I'm really extremely self-centered, narcissistic, overly confident human being. And I sometimes beat myself up about it. And I kind of think, who am I to share something like this? But I always have to remember that God blessed me with my wife, who is humble, who serves behind closed doors, who does not shine the camera or the spotlight on herself like I do. And as long as I am in this relationship with her, and we're communicating, we're having give and take, and we're supporting each other and pushing each other and loving each other at the same time, then I don't ever have to worry about my egocentrism to overpower my desire to support and love and to serve God. And I realize, like, I can use my maybe confidence that I have for God, and narcissism, if you want to call that, for God. So I call myself a godly narcissist, or a God-centered narcissist. Anyways, narcissism is such an interesting topic that I love researching about, and it's really an epidemic right now, or a pandemic, if you will, that I really believe it's affecting us tremendously in many ways, partly because of the climate of our culture that we live in, and we're so self-centered. We're just so self-centered. But the more we can give, the more we can just serve our children, our community, our tribe, people online, our family, and just give, then the more we become less self-centered and more selfless, like these leaders. And that is the beauty of the blessing, and that is the beauty of what I'm talking about, is we can be leaders of tremendous capability and power when we just realize the power of the blessing, realize the power of marriage, realize the power of man and woman coming together to balance each other out, to become one. And that is what is in store for you if you're single and you're preparing for marriage. And if you're in a couple, I think we all have this opportunity. We all have the power to be a selfless, true hero in our community. And we can stop just judging, all the nonsense that's going on in the world, and all the bad leaders we have, the bad examples we have. Because there are true leaders right in our neighborhood, right in our own community, right in our own faith community. And they are worth celebrating, and they're worth following, and they're worth replicating in our own way, right? In our own leadership style, becoming leaders that are just unafraid to share and to give and to do whatever. By the way, if you want to appreciate someone in your life, in your circle, in your community, then why don't you just send them a message today and just tell them thank you. And that's it. Thank you for you. Thank you for what you do. Also, put it in the comments of this video. I'm really curious as to know who you want to appreciate. There's so many people, and I just want to appreciate these few people because I personally work with them, and I've just been inspired by them, but there are so many out there. So I think this is something we should do more, is really appreciate the people who step up and do the work, right? So let us know.